Don't call me, though. I do not want you to call me ever. All right? Okay? As long as we're in agreement, I don't want your phone call. Don't ring me. I don't want it. How you guys doing? Welcome to the stream. Happy Sunday. Great day for those in North America because it is not the end of the weekend. The weekend continues. I'm excited because, yeah, no, seriously, we get another day. Memorial Day is, Labor Day is one that I can't figure out how to remember, and I say it wrong every single time. So for that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Actually, I don't want to listen to this. 5 a.m. Monday here in Australia. Yeah, so anything that you could tell us about what's going on a Monday, any vibes, any worrying trends that you might be picking up on, if you could go ahead and forward those to us, we'll take that into consideration and make sure we avoid it. Watch a video on the history of Labor Day. Listen, I didn't come here to learn. I came here to honestly, to farm. So, I don't care about Labor Day. What, like, why do pregnant women get a whole day? You know, they already got Mother's Day. Why do we need Labor Day? It doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, I didn't come here to play school. I came here to play ball. We need some EFT, what the fuck, React juicer content. Escape from Tarkov? I haven't played Tarkov in... Sorry, I'm going crazy. I haven't played Tarkov in a bit because I haven't been enjoying it in general. But I will sometime this week if you want me to. It's just like... The game didn't have any updates significant enough that would get me into it again. Lighthouse is not a fun map for me. I'm broke all the time. And the only fun part is the early wipe. So I'm waiting for Streets to come back. Or Streets to come out so I can come back to the game and really like give it my all. We've got, I think today is going to be a pretty chill day. We've had a long week and I was planning on cooking food for you guys on stream. And then I realized I've already done burgers 4 times. I was going to make burgers and some French fries for Labor Day because what else are you supposed to do? And then I realized I didn't want to do that. So, next week, I promise you that we will do a shitty cooking. I'm going to use that as a tech test to try out the new camera that I got, as well as some additional stuff. If it goes well, cool, really exciting. I'll be able to set that up and take it down a lot quicker and easier, and you should probably expect a shitty cooking twice a month. Always on a Friday, by the way. Because it will be a segment for the new premium internet. And then, you know, shoot, Kaylee will have a mic, yeah. My goal is to make it easy for you to always know what we're going to do. I miss having Fridays as a thing. I think we would probably start with shitty cooking and then go into some other stuff. But, you know, open ideas. Definitely open ideas. Also today, I want to buy... I need to figure out the Raspberry Pi situation. I want to have a logo up there, and it's making me sad that I can't yet. So we're going to have to... I'm going to buy one, and then we're going to try it, I guess. Streamer BF mic'd up GF. React to tutorials. 2 premium, 2 internet. Oh my god. I don't know what to call it or anything. I'm probably not going to change. I'm not going to call it anything else. But you know what's crazy? Wait a minute. I saw a clip today, which was really great. It said the current state of the XQC subreddit. And it was on Livestream Fail. And it was an awful, like, Counter-Strike video. Here it is. All right.
It's B, I think. So, okay. So we can have a poll right now if we delete the Reddit or not. It's only one vote. It's only me. I choose yes. I think we should delete this shit. This is...
And so it made me feel really good and validated to know that I'm not the only one that has gone through this, okay? It made me feel really, really good to know that I and everybody else, including the biggest streamer in the world, go through the same things every day. One of the biggest streamers in the world. So hell yeah. Glad that he had to deal with that. You know, like your subreddit just devolving into some awful bullshit. So, you know, we'll do what we can, but premium internet as a name doesn't have to go anywhere. It's just what we're doing. Yo, Rad Kyle, thank you for the tier 2 in the 41 months. Sorry for the delay. Bagels, 3 years. Happy birthday. Also, Hamilton, thank you for the 28. You're the biggest streamer in my world. I am going to take that and I'm going to write it down and I'm going to put it on my bed frame. I'm going to look at it every night when I go to sleep. You see Lord of the Rings on Prime? No. I don't care about Lord of the Rings. I don't. I watched them and they were good, and then that was that. So I think that I haven't seen The Hobbit. I read The Hobbit, and then I was like, why am I doing this? And I enjoyed the PS2 games probably the most. So seeing people melt down over black hobbits is funny to me, because I'm like, literally, you have a ring that turns people invisible. Like, what? Like, what do you mean? And then 2, I don't care if it was good or bad, because I'm not going to watch it. I'm just not going to. So it's the same with, like, Star Wars drama. I'm like, sick. Cool. The only real drama that I have is the drama of not knowing if they've renewed Dorohedoro for a second season and why it's taking so long, okay? Or why they decided to make the last season of Food Wars when it was really unnecessary and didn't really add anything. Or why Darling in the Franxx fucking blows. All these things I care about more. So it's like, tough ask. I don't care. I'm not gonna watch it at all. Yeah. Did you watch Sandman? Nope. Currently, Kaylee and I are watching Dead Man Island, as well as watching, that's all we're watching right now? No, we're watching something else. Licorice something. Kaylee has seen Darling in the Franxx. Her favorite character is 02. She has several 02 cosplays, and she is, and even one extremely lewd 02 statue figurine. And for that reason, I was like, perfect. Don't even need to ask. Very based. Huge. Any of the badminton animes that came out this year, which ones are they called? Because I want to watch one. Oh my god, let's go. Licorice Recoil, yeah. We've watched the first 2 episodes of that. Disney bought the streaming rights for the return of Bleach and won't be simulcasting. May have to wait weeks or months for batch releases. The only thing I can say to that is you've done it to yourself because you're a Bleach fan. It's like complaining that you're gonna get more episodes of One Piece, but I mean, you're gonna get them eventually. Bleach is so good. I don't think so. I don't get it. I really don't get Bleach, man. I also do not get One Piece. Those are 2 that they're lost on me forever. I sat down and I gave them several shots and I'm like, this don't. Have you watched Classroom of the Elite? Watched 3 episodes. We decided we didn't care about it that much. It be like that. It be like that. I think, oh, this is gonna make people mad. One Piece is in the same exact tier as Fairy Tail. But the only benefit is that Fairy Tail ended and One Piece won't. So it's like, I don't know what you want. They're both in my head exactly the same tier, and I know that's gonna make somebody seethe. But they're you're like, all right, listen, dude, no. Culturally, One Piece is way better. No, shut up. All right, listen. I see them as the same. All right, you're dreaming. Tweet that, you won't. I don't know, because it's like getting like One Piece fans have Stockholm syndrome themselves into caring so much about it, and it's the same thing that I got caught up in Fairy Tail when you're episode 370 into this long ass thing, and you're like, well, I gotta just finish it. Except you guys are 800 episodes into the first arc, and you're like, you're lost. You're lost. You're afraid of One Piece stopping because that means you got to find more filler shows to put on in the background. All right, you treat One Piece like basic girls treat The Office, except they rerun The Office and you rerun a lot of One Piece. But apparently the new arcs are really good, and so there's 1,050. Yeah, it's more than 800. There's some really good arcs apparently in the new like half of One Piece, but no, I'm good, dude. Sunk cost fallacy for sure. If you watch them without fillers from the start, you don't deal with this shit. I will agree that almost every long form anime is better if you're watching them without filler. But I also don't think it's kind of like edging yourself. All right, you know, you're like when you watch and they have 30 minutes of screaming build up and they don't get to the fight you swore this episode would have, so you're like, gotta watch another one, man. You know, it's some slaps a little bit different, but yeah, some fillers are good. You keep my damn beach episodes in there, all right? I don't care. DBZ, but I'm still gonna watch it. Yeah. Basically. What up, 32? You can deal with filler, but not filler arcs. Filler arcs are just dog shit. What are we watching today? So, good question. There's a couple things that I wanted to watch and do in general. I want to look at least some portion of the 2019 Ideal Electricians National Championship on ESPN2. Early CGI was horrifying, a mini documentary series. And how a master chef built an entire restaurant out of aged Wagyu beef and open fire smoke point. While also watching every trick a pro GeoGuessr player uses. So these are on the docket. And then I will probably not watch 30 minutes of CGI, to be honest, or 47 minutes of the Electricians National Championship on ESPN2. But you never know. You really never know. There's a Channel 5 video. Again, a new one. Wow. If it's good, there's Channel 5 videos I like to watch with. It's O Block. 20 minutes. That one might be one I want to watch with. That one's one that I probably want to watch with like Kaylee or something. Like Daytona Bike Week was 30 minutes of unhinged shit, and I don't know if I have it in me to watch a 30-minute video on stream yet. I'm not there. But like say 10, well, maybe. Alex Jones on Patreon. Do you know why I'm at 480p but it looks like 4K? Because I'm not moving a lot, so the Twitch bitrate doesn't have to update the pixels. So if I just sit really still, it's like loading a really nice picture. You know? Origins of drill music. Holy, you hate me.
Wagyu beef.
All right, let's start with this one because it got requested by Och, and he isn't even here to watch it, which is hilarious to me. But he's already seen it, so, you know, you can go back and watch the fucking whatever. I have seen the Crip Mac episode. We watched that on here, and it was great. So this is how Master Chef built an entire restaurant out of aged Wagyu beef and open fire, which to me sounds like, here's how a chef got, built an entire restaurant out of arguably the greatest thing ever to grace my mouth. I'm like, it's not really hard. Do you have the meat, and do you have a way to cook it? If the answer is yes, you're making a restaurant out of Wagyu. But you know.
Gozu is a
Did you watch the new Umami? No. Oh, yeah, it looks weird. Oh, yeah. Wait, there's quite a bit. All right. Cool. Thanks for letting me know. Where are we going? Here it is.
Wagyu beef tasting menu. So we work through the entire animal throughout the progression.
You know what bothers me? Whoever edited this really said, I'm sorry, but there was too much pause between this man saying Wagyu beef tasting menu, and so they cut all the dead audio and it sounds weird.
Gozu is a Wagyu beef tasting menu.
What is that? Just ask him to say it again. Or like, there's no way he took that much time in between the sentence. Wagyu beef tasting menu. I mean, that's like what?
So we work through the entire animal throughout the progression of a meal. This is part of the Teishoku tray, which is the final Wagyu course. I don't know anybody that is working with Wagyu on this level in the US. This is a nearly everyday occurrence here. Teishoku traditionally is a lunch tray that has a broth, it has a sashimi, it has a seasonal vegetable.
You know what's so crazy? People are going to look at this and say, there's no way this is $90. All right? However, I'm going to look at this and say, there's no way this isn't $120. That's like a 2-ounce portion of Wagyu, right? 3 ounces maybe. It's a thick cut. That's a filling portion of Wagyu right there.
Vegetable, it's got pickles.
But I don't know how I feel about the fish cum salad or the salt. That's so much salt, but
and then
whatever.
Either a nice piece of fish or beef or something like that. I spent 7 years working as the business development chef for Alexander Steakhouse. We opened a restaurant in San Francisco in 2010, Pasadena, we opened in Taipei, we opened in Tokyo. And I really got a chance to travel to Japan and talk to a lot of these farmers. And one of these farmers asked me, hey, it's great that you're taking, all the ribeyes and the strips and the fillets, the tenderloins, but when are you gonna take a whole animal? How about you be the first to import a whole animal from Japan to the United States?
That farmer was just like, yeah, that's really tight, dude. What if you just bought it all? And the guy was like, yeah, we do in fact have that much money. We can do that. That was like the farmer was like, wait, what? Really? Okay. All right. Wait, really? Okay. Sick. Thanks. Like, all right. Now you mean I don't have to butcher it or I just give it to you? Okay.
That was always really intriguing to me. These animals give their life for us to enjoy, and there's definitely a certain level of respect that comes out of it. So every time that we're breaking down and cutting, and
let's be clear, they don't give their life. We take their life, but they taste really good, so I'll allow. You know what I mean?
Just thinking about how best to utilize.
Like this cow is not walking over to me and he's like, "Listen, bud, we got about 3 more months, and then I'm gonna taste so fucking good for you, dude. They're gonna, oh my god, just you wait. All right, you wait." Like,
showcase each individual piece of the animal. But yeah, I mean, anytime you get it in, you realize that you've got a $3,000 piece of meat that you're cutting. So we do a lot of aging here, whether it's with fish or beef. Dry aging has really become quite a phenomenon. You won't generally see these cuts of Wagyu in the United States. You almost have to build a place to serve it. I think that's why a lot of restaurants are sticking with the New York and ribeye and tenderloins. In this cabinet right now is a shoulder clawed from Chateau One, good friends of ours in Hokkaido. So it's called Hokkaido snow beef. So there's 5 grades of beef. Among that, you get into beef marbling score, which goes from 1 to 12. These all grade between 10 and 12 to qualify as snow beef.
So here we have the clawed heart. So this is
why the hell why is it that everybody who handles good like raw product comes up with the dumbest fucking names for them? All right, you see it in weed, right? You see it in hops for beer, and you see it in meat. Snow beef, what? Like what do you like? Just call it. Hey, this thing's really marbled, huh? What are you gonna call it? Snow beef? Anything? You couldn't come up with anything else. Fine marble.
This is the main muscle that we use.
They
in the
do have
shoulder
PSA
for
grades.
skewers. And so from here, since it's all nice and cleaned up, we will break it into smaller blocks and
yeah.
then use it to make these skewers.
This is the part of the tray where everybody gets kind of, I think, what they were expecting. I think everybody at some point that comes through this front door expects to have a piece of meat that's grilled over charcoal put in front of them.
Fuck yeah.
Everything in this restaurant is cooked over this hearth. We don't have any gas in the restaurant at all, so we're 90% fire.
Of course.
Here we have
Oh, the
the,
electricity. I'm
slide-
like, what about the other 10? You got like some guy just keeping shit warm.
Tricep muscle from the shoulder. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to lay it out and then kiss it with charcoal and finish it with a little Maldon sea salt. And that is one of the elements of the teishoku tray. This muscle is normally very chewy, so we slice it super thin, as you can see, so it's very delicate. So you don't feel any of that texture on your mouth. All you feel is like the beef and then the fat as you're eating it. And then just like a nice, like it kind of melts away because of how thin we slice it. So we take it and we brush it with a little bit of Wagyu tallow.
We use Kishu bean chotan for this. These are actually made from fallen branches that are then put in a kiln, brought up to 1,000 degrees. It yields this really cool charcoal, and you can almost hear it sounds like ceramics.
Oh,
It's a light cook,
that's what
and
you
get a
mean.
Really, really cool barbecue flavor that happens when you do it. This restaurant wouldn't be what it is without fire and charcoal. I think it's kind of the lifeblood of this entire space.
This might be too fancy high class for me. There is a level of pretentiousness that is required for you to spend hundreds of dollars on single ounces of meat, yes. However, there is also a worry that you don't belong or you can't go or you shouldn't go to a place that has this on the menu because you think that it's just like too much. It is probably, places like this are probably a little more approachable than you would think because they're supposed to be a little bit more like relaxing and stuff. But I mean, I don't think that you're gonna find a low-key Wagyu restaurant because that's like they're like, you know. Like, imagine going in there and then sitting on, like, an office chair. And they're like, by the way, here's your $400 piece of meat. You know, you kind of got to be like...
There's a counter, everybody sits around. It's kind of transformative for people that come in, and it's very innate.
Well, also,
around.
I mean, good-sized portions for sure. But, and this is a small but, and it is hard to explain unless you have actually... eaten something that rich, but just like you could probably sit down and eat a giant chocolate bar, but if you replace the chocolate bar with fudge, you would feel sick halfway through, right? That is what it feels like when you're eating a piece of meat so marbled with fat like Wagyu that it is 2 to 4 ounces is plenty. I don't think many people are going to eat 6 ounces or 8 ounces of a Wagyu steak. That'd be so rich and uncomfortable. Cap? It's not cap. It's not cap. I just don't think it's a different feeling of full. You feel satiated, but you're not like, fuck, you know?
A fire and stare at it and enjoy each other's company. I think it takes it to a whole nother
Sushi.
level
I've
when
tried fancy
when you're
sushi and I
preparing
put like
food
$100
over
for that and I'm
fire
still hungry.
It's kind of providing entertainment and light. And
I think
warmth.
I think that's not necessarily the same thing.
Rare seared tricep muscle from earlier that we have kissed with charcoal, and I'm just giving it the garnishes of miso pickled rambo. Then we also have pickled black trumpet mushrooms and kinome leaves.
Cause getting a better quality piece of tuna is great. You can taste the difference, but it doesn't feel necessarily that different because I don't know. It was not fish cum though. Seared Wagyu triceps with trumpet mushroom vinaigrette and truffle. I don't like truffle, but of course this tastes great, but I don't like truffle. It just tastes a little bit, I don't know. You know why I don't love truffle? Because I've had so much fake truffle that I'm not going to be able to separate the two in my head. Same thing for wasabi. Like, real wasabi is pretty much way better than the fake wasabi that you eat all the time, but like, doesn't matter.
Fish delivery just came in today. This is all coming from the Toyotsu market.
Can I get a reaction from a streamer?
99% of the fish here. So these fish, a type of sea bream, in Japanese they're called tai. We use this on a sashimi course on the menu. So these come in already eviscerated. The tails are cut and the fish are bled. You can see how fresh this fish is. Just from the eyes. Super clear and round. Exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah, this is one of the few things that doesn't get cooked over the fire. I love the way that we are using the entire fish for the dish, because the whole...
I think my problem is I oftentimes end up watching shit during React content that I'm interested in, and because of that, I am watching it, and it becomes a problem because I promise you that half the shit that other people are reacting to, like, I'm not. They're just like, I don't know. Like I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, I don't think I could use a knife that big. I don't even think I have a knife that sharp ever.
Restaurant is to use the offcuts of the Wagyu too, but utilizing the whole cow. So we're doing the same for seafood as well, and it's not just Wagyu that we're following that philosophy. Surprisingly, the dish is really delicate and clean, because the rest of the menu could be
really heavy,
flavorful and intense. This dish keeps the entire menu really balanced. Dashi is a Japanese-based stock that is made from kombu and bonito. And that's like the basic foundation of...
Not to alarm you, but I don't think the AC downstairs is working. I realize no air is blowing out of it. I might be wrong, but I want to let you know before I forgot. What do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah, this one's working. It's just not working well. That's an air intake. I know, but it's not blowing cold air. Maybe? How hot is it right now? It's 102. Dude, it's so hot. Hold on, give me a sec, guys. I gotta see if our AC is broken or not. It's 102 out, so it's really hot, but all right, my AC unit downstairs is not really blowing. We have one unit. It is currently not, and usually it gets fucking cold, and it was working this morning. It is currently not really blowing cold air. The upstairs is blowing air, but it's not very cold. The downstairs is not really blowing air at all. So I don't know if the AC unit's having issues because it's so hot. I don't know if it's having load issues. You know? You have mini splits or what there? I have no idea what you just said. The unit is upstairs. The unit is in the crawl space above me right now, frozen over. Yeah. If you kept it too cold often, it could have frozen. Is it icing up? I have no idea. I don't know if I have a unit like the old you know what? I can show you. I can tell you exactly what I have. Shift it off for like an hour. The problem is it's 80 in here. HVAC specialist viewers, Chad. I know. Okay, let me log in real quick and I can tell you exactly what I have. Let me put on some music. Nope. This is the hottest day since I moved in here for sure. Residents. All right. Let me see architectural guidelines. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. All right. Electrical, HVAC, heat and plumbing, new installations or changes to original, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I need to find out what the fuck that is. Maybe that's not it. Original construction specs. Here we go. Heating and air conditioning as per Title 24 specifications as determined by Console Energy engineers. All plans will include Honeywell timer programming. All right, it is a York heating and cooling equipment, 42,000 to 48,000 BTU for cooling and variable heating due to water temperature. Heating units are run by hydronic system taking water off the 75-gallon water heater in the units. Air conditioning system 10 SEER. Ducts, exposed metal ducts. I don't know what any of that means, dude. Does anybody know any of what that just means? I think it means that I have water-powered AC and heating. And it uses my water my water off the 75-gallon water heater inside my laundry room. But I don't know what that means in regards to like why it wouldn't be running. All right, well, I'm going to leave it off for an hour and see if we can turn it on. Sounds like you have an AC. Yeah, basically. Haley. All right. Yeah, so I think what we'll do, homeowner Tucker stands. I know, dude, I was standing like a fucking dad over there, right? I think what I'll do is I'm going to go peeking up here and see if I can see inside and if there's anything visibly an issue. We're leaving it off for like another 30, 45 minutes. I got to be honest with you guys. If it doesn't work again, then we have a problem because, you know, I got a dog here. So we got to take care of Grizz, make sure things are good. And, yeah, I don't really know what we do. So hopefully things will be fine. Let me go. All right, I have a ladder. Anyways, so one thing that we found is that apparently the intake vent has a super fucking dirty filter in there, so I'm gonna replace that. Good to know. Yeah. And then, so yeah, we'll hang out for at least another 20 minutes or so, or 30 minutes or so, and then we'll turn it back on, and then we'll go from there. Weird, but also not poggers. The hottest day of the year, the hottest day since I've been here. Man's glossy. I know. I'm a little bit. It's a little bit toasty, dude. You don't want to mess with a broken. Well, we'll just have somebody from the building, like whoever services the rest of the building. We'll just get their info and have them come out. But they're probably gonna be very busy today.
Getting cold, hot enough.
You're thinking frozen lines or lack of airflow in or out. I don't think that it's lack of. I don't think it's. I would bet that it's frozen lines more than lack of airflow. But you never know. I don't know how to explain it, but the filter was literally bent, like send the model so we can look it up. I think I just said it out loud. I don't know. The static? What do you mean the static? The model was a York 42,000, 48,000 BTU. Hydronic system. Oh. That fix it. Does that fix it? Yes, no, yes. Test. All right. Other than the visible ice on any part of your HVAC unit, the next most obvious is a sign of frozen AC is lack of cooling air. If you put your hand in front of the supply vents, you sense warm air coming out. You probably have ice somewhere in the system. You notice a hissing sound coming from the unit. All right, so I can't get to my unit because I believe my unit is literally in the crawl space up above my office right now. So I mean, I can, mostly. No, it's electrical interference. Very noticeable with the noise gate cutting in and out. Let me see if I can hear it. Do you run your AC all night? Could be freezing it over. Mic test? Yeah, I don't hear it. Damn. We run the fan all night. Sounds much better now. Okay, we run the fan all night, which is just moving air. The AC itself is set to 75. The AC is set way warmer than I ever have had it before. I used to keep it at 67 continuously, no matter what. Now, it's 75 because girlfriend's fucking frozen. Yeah, I don't know. It's all right. We'll figure it out.
So we can grill the fish for the dashi gelée that's on the
Yo,
sashimi.
Box Party, thank you for the 18, by the way.
Flavor on the fish to create another layer of flavor that can be infused
and bonk,
into
thank
the
you.
dashi. Although the sashimi course is a cold dish, but it also have a touch of the fire in the dish. I'm gonna roast both the heads like this, and we're gonna hang the bones of the fish over the fire.
So I think a lot of this is just applying different techniques. So we'll put a hard grill on some of it. If we hang this over the fire, it's pulling a lot more smoke. So it's gonna give a whole different perspective to things. So as we build flavors, we're trying to go across that full spectrum of lightly smoked to full on hard sear to even like char.
Why do you think, like I'm not gonna fucking do any of this? Is the other draw to the restaurants like this? Like I can't wood fire my pizza. Why? Because I don't have a wood fire pizza, and I'm not going to get one. It's insane. But I do want wood fire pizza. Same shit with this. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do any of this. I guess the only way to eat it is to go here and eat and try it.
So you can kind of tell the bone's been kind of like dehydrated, so the flavor intensifies. And if you smell it, you can smell that smoky flavor from the flames.
What are you
So
doing with
when
the
water's
bone? Oh,
simmering,
stock.
Just put the bones in with some kombu. And then you want to bring it to a simmer. And after that, we'll bring it down to 75 degrees and let it sit and infuse for an hour.
Ocelot.
Then we'll turn it into a jelly.
07's in the chat. Solid lurk as
Sashimi
always. I'll see you
is
later,
coming
brother.
from Japan. So we'll fillet that, slice the Wagyu, lardo thinly. That gets layered in between. The fish itself is brushed with a little bit of shoyu that's been in cherry oak barrels. That gelée, that sits on top, and then that gets finished with onion sprouts on top of that and some cherry blossom.
That's so weird though. Like I can imagine eating it and the texture and stuff, and it's just like anything that's like gelatinous bothers me, but whatever.
Uni is part of a supplement course that we're running right now that's toast. This uni is coming from Hokkaido as well.
This motherfucker
So you
said
get super cold
toast?
water. For this particular dish, this is really, really where it's at. We always kind of open it up,
Uni,
take a little
god
taste, make sure
damn
everything is where it's supposed to be. Something that we've realized relatively recently is there's an additive that is used in it in order to make it last longer and to keep the flesh more firm. And as we've kind of gone through, you start to realize you can taste that. And a lot of people that don't like uni say it makes their throat itch, and that's from that additive. So anytime we can, we'll go with additive free. That's delicious. Super nice.
How much would the whole box cost? Uni is expensive, but it's not like caviar, right? If this was a box of caviar, you'd be like, good fucking lord. But I don't know. This is sea urchin, by the way. Uni is just like you can get like this much, like, you know, like 2 uni for like $8. So it's probably very, you know, a couple $100, but it's not like insane. It's just like, God, it's so salty and
This
nasty.
is one of the last things that we got to put together for service today. This is a brisket from Chateau.
The texture is really, it really bothers. It's like
about 11 hours.
It's sea cum.
Sliced
It is.
thinly, and it's being used on a toast supplement with uni and a little bit of Thousand Island dressing. So for this one, we'll block it into saku. The brisket's another really, really nicely marbled piece.
Oh,
but it
toast
does take some
supplement.
cooking.
Oh.
It's still got a little bit
Love
of
a good toast
chew to it.
supplement.
This is definitely shows my Indiana roots, where it's a lightly grilled piece of toast, and then we've got the brisket that goes over top. We've got a little Thousand Island dressing that's infused with wasabi, and then we've got some Hokkaido.
I just don't. It's probably fucking great, and I would eat this. If you just took the uni off, I'd come. All right, yeah. There's a lot of themes here, but it's not. Now it's just not. I just wish it didn't have the fish. I mean, not the fish, the urchin.
Bone-in ribeye. The big significance on this, it's been about a year since the USDA started allowing bones to come into the US from Japan. There's very few farms that'll do it because we're talking roughly a $4,700 piece of meat. If this cryovac seal is broken at any time when it comes in through USDA, the product won't be allowed in. So it's a risk for both the farms and the packers in Japan. This has been dry aged for about 50 days. So we're gonna trim this down a little bit. You can see it's got a little bit of the bark on it from the age, particularly on this side. We like to just skim a little bit of that off just to open it up. It's not a whole lot, so you can kind of see as we get through this top layer, things start to open up a little bit.
$4,700.
There's always a wow factor when you bring this out and let them know what's coming. We're just gonna season with a little bit of salt and pepper and start grilling. It's great to do like this large format stuff for big groups. It's kind of an impressive chunk of meat. So it definitely, it makes a statement for sure. So we start getting, you can kind of see this like really, really nice crust right out of the gate. We don't want it to just blow up in flames, or it's gonna be bitter and kind of this kerosene flavor. So there's a lot of back and forth and just managing these coals. It's fun to cook a little bit during service. We'll go up, hang here, just let it cook slowly for the rest of the way. Let this thing do its thing, and then
We're just gonna hang up the $4,700 meat chunk over the fire for like a while, and then yeah, $4,700 is probably what they are paying at the table. That's probably the upcharged version, not the amount that they paid for it specifically, I would assume. Well, yeah, no. Yeah, it's gotta be $4,700. Yeah. No, yeah. But still, that's insane. Like that's like $250 for like 20 people.
Pull it down and slice it. Utilizing
Each.
whole animals and
I don't know, I
offcuts,
can't do math.
I think Wagyu is almost a gateway animal from that standpoint. There's a lot of parts of the cow that you can eat and a lot of different preparations that can be done with Wagyu versus, say, an American breed. I think we grind nearly 60% of the animal in the United States with Angus beef, whereas there's a lot more focus, particularly in Japan, on the different cuts and the different textures that come from things. There's a different palette set that's being used. I think cooking on fire requires an immense amount of skill out of the chefs and the cooks that do it. There's a ton of heat management. Not all wood burns the same, so there's always some variance. The center of the restaurant is the hearth.
Homie's just pirating content.
Restaurant. It's got kind of a heartbeat.
Listen. Yes.
I think the way
No,
that
I'm not stealing it. All right, I'm consuming it.
meat interacts with
The
charcoal
difference.
and with wood is a very, very
Me to the
special
security guard as I'm eating the
Most
fucking
this
bag of
animal you
chips
can just
that
grill
I
over
have
fire
taken
and it's
from
delicious,
the
but there's some
bag.
things that take a little bit more time and energy. And I think that's kind of what this restaurant's all about, is finding those ways to work with the versatility and to find nuance and the individual muscles on each primal that we bring in.
I just find it hard to believe, though, that, I mean, I would be so very upset if, no matter what, if, I can't believe we had all this and we didn't get like, that's just not enough food for $4,700, but okay. We're acting as a way to pretend you have a job? I mean, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. What does that even mean? Welcome, by the way. Anyways, thanks for sending this video over, Och. This one's sick. Why does the meat look like chocolate? I don't know. Probably because it's very rich. I don't see the problem here.
It's a
All right. So, where's our boy Umami? You'd be pissed if you pay $4,700 and you get 8 slices of meat. That's what I'm saying. But also, I get it. But whatever. Who even wants a bag of chips when you literally have a $4,700 piece of beef hanging around? No. Brother, is this your first time on Twitch or what's going on here? When's your account get made? 2020. You're not that new here. Go take a lap around the website and then go check out YouTube. Go check out TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, and then when you're done, all right, go fuck off. I don't know what you want. Everything is react because others do it okay. Yeah. Make some cooler content. I strive to. What? Who? Brother, my guy. I'm getting one guide. I know, but it's just been so. What games you got, bro? What? I can't play video games because I'm stealing the video game creator's content. I can't do that because it's not original. I am then, you know what I mean? So what am I supposed to do here? No! It doesn't make sense! You gotta create your own video game. You have to create it from scratch or else you're stealing other content. And you can't use other people as well. You'd be adding more to a game than watching a video. Yeah. No, I don't agree with that. I think that most of the time I take away from the game by playing it because it's really bad. I'm not gonna ban him. He gets to hang out here. He's gonna get to hang out. Anyways, let's watch Umami's video. who's definitely gonna be great. I always thought that the space ice cream was dog shit.
Good evening.
Hey.
On this landmark mission, you choose me, a packet of nutritious soup mix to be combined with the precious little water in your reserve. My composition is fresh today, but next week, that essential ingredient, H2O, will be recycled and filtered urine from you and your crewmates to be reunited with another packet of vitamins, minerals, and electrolytes.
This is true. That is very much how it works.
Our mid-transition between Earth and Mars. In the starship. In coitus. A phallic instrument to germinate an awaiting cosmic body.
Hey, yo.
Mars has a gravitational pull 38% as strong as Earth's. The human body, which has evolved for over 6 million years on Earth, will in a short term enjoy a comfortable loftiness on a planet where the weight of the world is exactly 62% less. In the long term, a weaker, brittle human emerges. Less gravity, less resistance, less strength, less bone mass, less human. Soup may be consumed by a spoon, but your breed will suffer a hard fork for humanity. Deprived they will be of returning home, for the rapture of Gaia would crush their bones blood red, like the oxide dust from the land which they came. It's a symbiotic relationship you and I share. You rely on me and I on you. But over time, as your lineage degenerates, I will ameliorate. The biodome kingdom you'll build for me will become less a place of agriculture and more a place of worship. It begs the question, who is truly atop the food chain when your very existence necessitates me, your steamier, superior?
I love Umami so much. Superior. Yeah, I mean this is kind of a follow-up if you haven't. Here, we'll watch the other one too. He's kind of got a shit ton of soup stuff, by the way. God, his animation's gotten so much better after 4 years.
Good afternoon.
She's like, bitch, what? I'm tripping. I took too much acid. Fuck.
Who I am. That fragrant emulsion of chicken stock, carrots, potatoes, and celery. Derived from your family's culinary tradition.
She's like, wait, does the soup have cornrows?
unbeknownst to you, your only surviving descendant 200 years from now will develop an addiction to something that will be known as the World Wide Web. His aversion to reproductive proclivities will fail to result in offspring and effectively end a blood lineage that had prevailed since the beginning of human existence. But do not despair. The family recipe that you used to make me will be celebrated as a national staple, and I will survive for generations far into the future.
No, the soup said...
Only I will prevail. Your creation. Your soup son.
This, you get, it's how, it's, so the guy who, Jesus Christ, the guy who created Campbell's chicken soup or whatever, like, you know, way back, the final dude ended up not having kids, right? So the soup is basically 300 years ago, like, you've created Campbell's chicken soup and I will outlast your entire lineage. Video's so strange, that's kind of the fucking point, bro. It makes you think! Think! Umami makes his own music too, by the way. I just want to know how absolutely wild Umami's dreams are.
I extend my congratulations to you on your encouraging quarterly results and positive 12-month forecast. You've satisfied and exceeded the expectations of your shareholders. By the year 2100, the planet will approach a population of 10 billion. That's a lot of mouths to feed, and a lot of homes that I will be able to call my own.
No, he's back!
Across the globe and throughout time, I have stoked the fires of hungry appetites. And for it, I have become a soup of the people. A soup of honor. A soup of great fame.
Anxiety, thank you for the 5 gifted, man.
My ingredients, forged from an era of biological turmoil, are a gift from Mother Nature herself. The nutrients pulled directly from Earth are reconstructed into essential vitamins and fulfill their role in the cycle of life.
He's spitting.
Can you say you share the same connection to the cosmos when you're sitting there, inspecting your scatter plots? When the people slurp my decadent flavors, will they remember you, solicitous hidden in a dark tower? Or will they remember me, their faithful pantry pal.
So, I mean, the first one was 4 years ago. This one was 3 years ago, and then we got a new one. So that was great. Really, really thrilled that the soup continues. And then, by the way, Umami, incredible artist, makes all of his own animations, but also his own music and stuff. Has a very long form series called Interface, which is like 40, I don't know, it's like an hour. Yeah, it's like an hour. It's a long time. And that's how I found him ages ago. Well, actually, the McDriving video, but still. Totally dope. So I have these two to watch, so. I have no idea what any, oh, pre-orders? Mischief? Oh, is this? Oh, he uses Teespring. I'm sorry, Umami. And it doesn't even link. Oh, it's not August. Oh, well. Fumella. Thanks for the prime. Wait. Has it been 30 minutes yet? It has. I should try and turn on the AC real quick. Give me a sec. I'm going to go check to make sure that everybody's alive downstairs and they haven't been cooked. All right. Well, wow, the AC, we turned the AC back on. It doesn't blow air downstairs really at all. It pumps air upstairs. So I think that there's either a blockage or it's frozen. Just texted my HOA head. I'm going to get info on whether or not we have like somebody to come out and do this. It's pretty warm in here, but it's not that hot. Grizz is asleep and chilling. It is currently 105 outside. So pretty fucking hot. The static is back. Damn, I wonder where the interference is coming from. I don't know. So the plan continues. We're gonna keep hanging out, and then it is looking unlikely that we're gonna stream all day today because I'm assuming that it is going to be. Oh yeah, good idea. Hey kid, Kaylee. Well, I mean, you're smart. We should have closed the curtains earlier, but there's no direct sunlight on our unit, so it doesn't make a huge difference. And it's getting colder as the day goes on, but still. Hey, happy birthday, Cheesecake. So yeah, I mean, it's looking unlikely. Okay, I've got these people. It's looking unlikely that we will be able to stream all day today. Who knows? Maybe it'll be fixed. Maybe it won't. But for now, we're chilling. Shot you another food video? Oh, okay. Stream until you get heat stroke challenge. Stream until my dog gets upset. Hard.
My thoughts are crystal clear. Yet I'm cursed with 3 mouths. And never the right words to say. 2 eyes on the road, and 2 eyes on you. Old snooze button, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
What the fuck?
Why am I lying to a flower? I'm lying to myself. Just a fool in a tuxedo, working a day job in the afterlife. Did that goddamn plant just speak? You talking to me? How did she hear me? Not even in my head are my thoughts my own.
What the fuck is this guy? This is a Courage the Cowardly Dog episode, basically. This man hauling.
We're going on a little adventure, you and me, to get to the bottom of this travesty and see what's what, who's who, where's there, and why. There's only the present to snooze. What do we have here? A ping pong ball past its prime. An oversized ping pong ball. One with an angry looking face.
Yep, that describes it.
Play it cool, Smear. Like I said, nothing to worry about. There I go, running my mouths again.
Captain Anxiety. Thank you for the 5 gifted.
Ping pong's being peaked. Something's amiss in this pastel abyss. They call me Smear. I persevere.
You've been gone for 5 minutes and you're already in a car accident.
What the?
Highway's a straight line, Smear.
What the fuck?
Did you leave any skid marks on it? It's okay. Nothing to be embarrassed about.
Lana, always with the quips.
You can fast travel like me. Even Snooze Button knows how to do that. You don't have to drive everywhere like an old boomer.
What's that saying? Live fast and die young. I'd prefer to live slow and die old.
Yeah, die old after landing on your neck because you didn't wear a seatbelt.
Like, he does look like
Might
a
have a
butthead.
big brain smear, but it's awfully smooth.
The journey is the purpose of the spirit. You'll understand. Once you discover the destination you strive for doesn't exist.
Boomer. Boomer.
Just as quickly as she had arrived. She
It's
was gone.
so funny. Okay. All right, yeah, don't ask too many questions, but that was safe mode. Okay, Boomer, ask questions. I mean, dude, it's definitely like his art style is very eerie, but the videos themselves are really well thought out. The music and the fact that he crafts it all himself is really dope too. Similarly, there was a video earlier this year that came out that I never got to watch that I thought would be kind of interesting. It's called Early CGI was
I'm willing to bet
horrifying.
you've heard before because it's everywhere. This worm, this purple man, everything in between is the work of computer-generated images. Regardless of the benefits or the faults, CGI has found itself as an essential, unanimous part of media production. Which is kind of funny, because just a few decades ago this technology was unnoticed by most of the general public. It was time-consuming, highly technical, and niche. I mean, think about it. Even the most powerful supercomputers of the 60s, 70s, and 80s couldn't hold a candle next to this smart fridge. And
Yeah, dude, imagine walking in. Everybody talks about bringing cell phones and stuff back in time to blow people's minds. No, bring a smart fridge back in time and show these people, not only are we keeping the food cool, we're so bored with the idea of keeping it cool that you can play a video game on here. Minecraft loaded up on the fridge. Like, it's so useless.
while most researchers were using these to make math go faster, CGI could just make funny-looking pictures. The value it would have was not easily apparent, and the skills you would need to get into all this in the first place was not for the faint of heart. Now, I don't want to talk too much about the live-action CGI stuff here, just the pure good CGI demos and shorts leading up to, let's say, Toy Story.
I mean that if I point at this particular point and tell the computer to move that point by another push-button command, It will move not only that point, but all 3 lines that are attached to it.
And
Literally.
the delay between it's doing what you want it to is because it's computing all these changes.
That's correct.
CGI has actually been around for quite a while. In the 50s, analog computers could graph out patterns and lines.
Motherfuckers be out here in 7th grade with a TI-83 going, I literally created the Mona Lisa in a code.
By the 60s, we would have wireframe demos, morphing of images, but it's not quite what we think of as true CGI today. This decade has a lot of important milestones, sure, but a lot of them look like this. For the more conventional works, we would have to go into the 1970s. One of the most significant demos here was 1972's aptly named Computer Animated Hand. You can see some of the earliest full meshes, shading, and even a human face. Sure,
Whoa!
it's slightly uncanny, but I'd argue by this point it was almost more cartoonish than creepy. Following up on this was 1974's Faces and Body Parts, which expanded on the human face and added the element of speech.
How happy is the little stone that rambles in the road alone, and never cares about careers, and exigencies never fears.
These early tests were groundbreaking, sure, but in the process found themselves deep in the uncanny valley. Not all CGI was being done for research, though. There was a small commercial element to all this even in the early 1970s, namely in advertising and station breaks. You can find several companies putting out demo reels
Stop, I'm attacked.
showing any ads they've produced along with the tech demos they've created. These demos could bring in more clients and potentially more employees interested in working with what was at the time a very niche segment of the computer industry. One of my favorites is Maggie Synthavision's 1974 reel.
Hi, guess where I came from? A computer. Me and my hat. And everything else you're gonna see in this film.
There's certainly limitations in the CGI of the era, that's apparent, but this is actually one of the most advanced demos I've found.
Bruh. Dude, people seeing this in the 80s, whoa! Not even the 80s, but yeah, like the late 80s, early 90s. Kids just fucking floored. Little bossa nova beat. It's not, but hey. What the Pokemon?
Simple polygonal shapes, flat colors without texture. Cityscapes and cars were quite popular in 80s CGI, but for the 70s, this is astounding. It's a very empty
this
space.
is the 70s.
You can tell where the world begins and ends, but that's par for the course in most early CGI. By the late 70s, we would start to see the earliest short films using three-dimensional polygons. Here is 1978's
Literally
On
Long
and
Drive.
Off at the Circus.
Bruh. My first.
That was disturbing. The circus, the clown, the way this bear floats around. Computing physics in an animation like this wasn't going to happen. A lot of these researchers weren't traditional animators. They came from computer backgrounds, and this was a fun way to show off the cutting-edge tech at the time. Complex backgrounds of anything more than a simple color would be pretty unrealistic to expect. This is 1970s CGI after all. Released the same year, Voyager 2 Encounters Jupiter has aged much better. Having a background of stars was ideal in early CGI. You don't need to worry about rendering more objects. It gives much needed spatial context. And you don't have a black void. Also, having a setting of space makes the lighting a bit more realistic since you only need to account for one light source, the sun. Even with slightly janky animations, the camera moves well, and this is a top-tier demo for the 70s. By the end of the decade, in 1978, the first ray tracing demo was produced.
Motherfuckers still talking about ray tracing, and we had that in the 70s? I mean, I get it, though, but...
Complete Angler. It's a bona fide classic. You could call this the birth of Vaporwave. Look at those refractions and reflections. At the end, we get this camera movement into the courtyard, and we get water. Things were moving pretty fast, at least the way I'm describing them. The gap between the early 70s CGI and the late 70s was pretty big.
Holy
but the
shit.
80s, well, it just had a lot more going on. There's a particular fascination with landscapes in the early 80s. Take Peak, an early Fractal demo. It's a mountain sitting on a plain in a void. Fractals allowed you to create these models without actually modeling every individual surface, which made it ideal for mountainous terrain. Violiba is another demo from the same year, and I prefer this, not just because it has a Utah teapot at the beginning. There's an amazing sense of scale here.
What the
And if you really squint your eyes and shake your head around a lot, it looks like real mountains.
Wow.
A lot of landscapes in these early 80s shorts. Take Carla's Island from 81. We get this approximation of water and weather systems. 2 islands on an empty sea. The waves move in a very mathematical fashion. The clouds aren't quite transparent, but the reflections are pretty convincing at first glance. And look how the lighting changes. It's
Wow.
wonderful. You'll notice
Incredible.
a trend of a lot of cities being rendered in this time, especially in advertising. Generally, these would have a low polygon city filled with skyscrapers and streets, devoid of any background. Landscapes and cities could be represented by simple polygonal shapes. They don't need to move around, so you don't need to animate parts of a character. So, a lot of this has aged decently well.
This ain't bad. What the hell? This fucking slaps. Phillips was ahead of the times. This would go hard right now.
Early 80s demos would generally avoid shadows. You might notice these shadowed gradients on objects, but it always looks really harsh. One of my favorites, and one of the most unsettling shorts, is 1981's Adam Powers' The Juggler. As he keeps juggling, he warps reality, and he keeps juggling, and then he warps reality, and then he disappears. The music doesn't help ease the tension in the air. This feels like it defines a lot of the early 80s CG.
It's just like, you know, I get it when you're saying like, oh yeah, we made this, but we don't really know what we're doing. We're just showing off tech demo stuff. It's the same as like whenever you go to an E3 event, or whenever you're watching E3 and they have the game dev playing and it looks like somebody has never played the game before. CBAT type beat. Don't this
saturated
CBAT.
colors set in space. Most objects don't cast shadows, but when they do, oh, they sure do. 1982 was a big year for CGI because we got Tron. You remember Tron? Look at it go. We also got the Genesis effect in Star Trek II, using some of those fractal landscape techniques we saw earlier. And just 1 year later, we'd be blessed with the short demo When Mandrills Ruled Heaven. It has ray tracing and a monkey. A lot of these demos have a real nightmare dreamscape.
What the fuck?
And a monkey. A lot of these demos have a real...
Why is there just a baboon on a blown-up hand grenade?
Nightmare dreamscape vibe. Here's a skeleton man who uses his eye to play billiards. I do appreciate the bouncing of the balls, though. Physics simulations are appreciated because, well, this was the alternative. As far as skeletons go, though, I think this 1983 Ohio State demo does it best. It's just a hopping, happy skeleton man, walking through empty rooms with no ceiling. It's quite an aesthetic. Less appealing is this.
What the hell?
The music choice, the xylophone floor, the bears. It's so dense, every single image has so many things going on. In 1984, we get one of my favorite short films of the early CGI era, High Fidelity. It's about shapes, doing fun things on a fun polygonal island. What I love so much about this is how it works within the limitations of CGI at the time. Our protagonists aren't humanoids, they're just shapes. The background is covered in lush polygonal foliage. The camera appears to be ray traced, bouncing rays from a camera to the camera. It's funny. Two-dimensional dog. I imagine the skybox has a texture and it works. Sure, you don't have self-shadowing, but I can easily suspend my disbelief. On the other hand, we have Snoot and Muttley, made the same year. The very first frame, we're greeted with this weird smooth lighting, the bizarre texture on the flat plane, the simple polygons, and complete black void in the background. I can't see any shadows here, but the main focus is on these two birds with human eyes. It was a showcase of how emotion could be shown in these CGI characters, and sure, it succeeds in that, but at what cost? This may or may not be the original music, but it's something. Just because I feel like mentioning it, here's 1984's First Flight. What catches me off guard is the transparency effects of the clouds.
Yeah, it looks
the
pretty
bird
good.
Animation it's very bird-like. I get real PlayStation 1 cutscene vibes here.
Yeah, not
a lot
bad.
to say, but yeah, that's neat. Here's Maggie sent the visions.
That's literally me. That's how I'm feeling watching this. I'm like, yeah, well, that's neat. Pretty cool.
Demo from 1984, a decade after we first looked at them.
What the fuck is the point?
Oh, this will be fun. Come on inside. Here, how about going on a nice little ride?
Rather than starting with the Happy Hat Man, we get Dismembered Clown. We get the more traditional smooth polygons and baked lighting effects you've seen. It's a very specific early...
No way. Is this like the entry to like a what is that, like a cinema where they're like, go get your Coke, and you're like on a magic carpet roller coaster ride and they bait you with like subliminal
CGI
advertising?
vibe I'm sure you've all appreciated before. And the ray tracing. That's improved as well. This Pac-Man cereal ad. That's something. And at the end we get a much more convincing
AMC, that's the one I'm talking about,
than I've
yeah.
seen yet. Here's a fun one. It's Botco.
Classic
Get all your
Vodco.
fusion and fission needs at Botco, the #1 name in high energy fuels. Matter, antimatter, it doesn't matter at Botco.
It's a fake ad created by Pacific Data Images, and it has all the tropes of traditional CGI, the void of a background, seemingly empty spaces, but at least there's some hills now, and clouds, and shadows. I like it.
Them all. Don't pay those expensive re-entry fees. We'll bring the widest variety of particles, subparticle, and theoretical energy fuels factory direct to you.
Now, here's something I've always questioned when it comes to older CGI demos. Generally, we only have access to the low-quality rips, and it's hard to rule out whether the low resolution and film grain makes it seem a little bit more creepy. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but the VHS quality demos do have a certain nostalgic appeal. But luckily, we have a high-quality rip of the famous Brilliance advert. As you can see, it stars Sexy Robot Lady. It's set in space. Who would have guessed? And while the robot herself isn't that shiny, the table sure is. I'm pretty sure I used this on a thumbnail once. Looking at the behind-the-scenes footage, the original concept art was amazing. It's also pretty funny that they refer to this as photorealistic.
It has to be something where you really can't tell if she's real or if she's computerized. Her movement...
You know, I oftentimes think, would you be able to show, like, what is the most, in your opinion, if you really think about it, what is, I'm not saying which game is the most realistic seeming, I'm saying which game looks most photorealistic. Is it Crysis? Is it, you know, like, which game do you think that you would be able to show Last of Us, Uncharted, like, which would you take back to show somebody who was making this, like, this is what it's going to look like? Red Dead Redemption 2 would be great. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 or Matrix UE5. UE5 I think is cheating. But I agree the Matrix and Unreal 5 is probably the winner. But you would be able to convince every single person back then that was real. Cheating how? Because it's a tech demo and I was just talking about release games, you know?
movements are very human, and she's very sexy but very strong.
The definition of photorealism changes constantly, and I think as we're exposed to more advanced CGI, our definition shifts as well. It's like the owl from the beginning of Labyrinth. That was photorealistic back in '86, but today, not so much. I don't know, maybe if it was in 480p, it'd look better. Let's try that. Sure. Yeah, that's great. By the mid-'80s, we have the start of the oh-so-famous Pixar shorts. Not really, though. Pixar, at this point, was technically a division of Lucasfilms. 1984's The Adventures of Andre and Wally B. Unlike many of the prior tech demos, this had an ulterior motive for its creation. Not just as a technical marvel, which it was, but as an artistic work to show off the potential of CGI as a medium for animation.
This doesn't look
that's
bad.
Been done before, but, you know, they really leaned into it here. The story is simple. A blue thing finds a bee, runs away from the bee stings the blue thing throws the hat. Pixar is generally a step ahead throughout all these demos. They always bring something new to the table and show truly state-of-the-art technology. But with that being said, I don't like this one. I understand it has big technical achievements such as the jiggly soft bodies and the motion blur. Look at that motion blur. But there's so many other things that bother me. It's this use of real textures on these low poly surfaces. The lighting in the background feels so off, but the trees use realistic textures. Those tree models are also way better than you expect for 1984, but
That's
still,
what I was gonna say.
this
They're
was
really
all due
good.
to limitations of early CGI. It's why it looks the way it does, and it works well within its own restraints, but, you know, I'm still going to complain. There is a background, there are things behind the focus of the animation, but it's like a parallel world where things don't look like the things they're supposed to.
This kind of looks like Code Lyoko, though. Like, it's kind of funny because Pixar definitely does have some of the best looking stuff out there, especially early on in animation, but like...
Character animations are better than what you'd expect, though, but it is a far cry from replicating that hand-drawn animation style. Everything looks smooth. It moves smooth. It's too smooth.
But we're in the 80s.
A good general rule
What
is that any
the
human that has a
hell?
polygon count equivalent to that of a kazooie is going to have those select visual distinctions.
What?
Use of emotion in the face is pretty great for the time, I'll give it that. But the scary French man playing piano with laughing masks, it's... that was a decision.
What?
As he plays, it starts to get a bit weirder, and eventually it devolves into this. At the end, I guess it's like in Dr. Stone when all the people turn to stone, and yeah, getting humans to work in CGI, even by this point.
What the hell? Who sat there and they were like, yeah, this is the one, baby.
Was an issue.
This is
With
it.
this in mind, I gotta bring
IBM,
up the
what do you
Dire
think?
Straits Money for Nothing music video. And I love it. Like, it's not pushing too many... It's not too wacky, but the CGI work I still think is phenomenal. There's a lot of used space in which it has the limitations of basic shader colors and tile floors, and it works well. That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes it can be difficult to distinguish whether demos are trying to be stylized or realistic. Take one of my favorites, 1985's Chromosaurus. Look at it. Look at the dinosaurs.
Whoa!
Chrome dinosaurs. I don't really see a texture on the ground, but a few cracks here and there. Maybe that's a texture. A few mountains. Look at those mountains and some clouds. Instant classic. There's a consistency in the themes here. There's a lot of rigid bodies, shiny surfaces, leaning into the 80s computer zeitgeist of the era. However, some short films took a very different direction.
Whoa. Tuber's two-step. Tuber. If you're named what the shit?
Look at that background. Look at this thing. It's great. It's kind of creepy. I don't know exactly what's going on all the time. Quest from 85 as well shows some peak aesthetic with some new ideas.
This kind of stuff bothers me. When there's like a lot of repeated like pointy textures or something, I'm not gonna call it a liminal space, but it bothers me.
It has some nice water effects for the time.
This is
the
nice.
world feels alive, more complex than what we'd normally get.
But the trees bother me. Whatever this is upsetting. Like, it's just like, oh my god. It's like anxiety-inducing liminal space creation. He turns into 2D. And then flies
really like
towards
this
the...
one. It's got some good reflections and refractions and things. A lot of weird things. 1986 saw the release of what may be the most single famous short of the early CGI era. It's Luxo Jr. There he is. This Pixar classic received such a good response at SIGGRAPH you reportedly couldn't hear the music or sound effects over all the cheering. And yeah, it's still great. Animation quality has a huge upgrade from WALL-E. The lighting and self-shadows, revolutionary. But one thing that's always felt a bit weird to me is the background. It's just nothing. It doesn't exist. The camera doesn't move either, and both of these are technical limitations. It would take too much time to render. It feels a little creepy, right? Is that just me? It's probably just me. Another Pixar short released around the same...
That's so crazy how much better that is than everybody else's, though, at the time.
Same time as one of my favorites. It's Beach Chair. It has a chair, and it touches water, and it leaves. It's 18 seconds long, but look at that.
The
ripple! Around this point, you could also find some more complex physics simulations going around. Another OSU demo from '87 shows off rigid body simulations in a black void on a plane. One of the key aspects that makes computer animation of today possible is the automation of certain tasks, calculating physics that look as realistic as possible. You could do...
There's something specifically nostalgic and creepy I've realized, and this video is all about it, about the way that people who aren't artists use their computational engines to make things to show off their new abilities, and they use like the most creepy or like it's not normal. Now we get tech demos that's like the Matrix, right? But this is like the version of the Matrix tech demo, like what we're watching, and I'm like, oh my god, thank God we moved away from it. Nerdcore.
Look, they even bounce. And I suppose this is a good time to explain why the checkerboards and black voids are so prevalent in all these demos. A checkerboard gives depth, more so than a basic colored surface. And having a background is useless unless you just want to show the things that are right there. Why make it harder and longer to render just for this aesthetically pleasing nonsense? The quality of ads was improving at an astounding rate around this time. Just 2 years after Brilliance, we got this Hawaiian Punch ad. That music slaps, even if it is just knockoff Trent Reznor. But there's so much detail in some of these models, far more than I'd expect. It's also a lot longer than Brilliance. The backgrounds are, yeah, it's still kind of a black void over there, but still, whatever. In 1987, we get my favorite Pixar short film, Volume Visualization on Image Computer. We get volume visualizations, which in this case, I guess means clouds.
Sick.
Fluffy, good, honest clouds. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of physics stuff around this point. Fabricated Rhythm, a cloth demo, was a cloth demo. I mean, it's not all that incredible on the surface. The cloth, yeah, it looks like a good cloth, but listen to this original soundtrack. An original song set to go alongside what is, let me remind you, a tech demo of cloth physics.
Fabricated rhythm, that's no way of living. Fabricated rhythm is breaking my heart. Fabricated rhythm, such a basic rhythm.
No shot!
Is this video gonna get claimed now?
Fabricated Rhythm. That's so good. Imagine being the girl who's in there recording the lyrics like, this is the one, guys. This is gonna make me pop off.
Stanley and Stella in Breaking the Ice is a fairly popular CGI short film. It's set in a sphere. It's got some weird birds. I don't like that bird. There's the fish from Shark Tale. I'm sorry, those eyes ruin it for me. It's all technical achievement aside, just get rid of the human eyes on birds. Who knew Snoot and Muttley was such a trendsetter? One of my favorite demos of this year is Mental Images, intended to be an abstract short film, which it is. It's a little weird, but it's got some atmospheric moments, a sense of scale, the lighting, it's all good. These reflections at the end, they're really good. I mean, really good. And we have another Pixar short, Red's Dream. I have some mixed feelings about this one as well. I think the outside setting and lighting here is exceptional. The reflections are amazing, the LED sign, the rain, it's all great. The lighting on the bikes here bothers me a bit, but whatever. It's a bit plasticky. A lot of the lighting in this for the whole decade is a bit plasticky. The real creepy part is when we get inside the dream of the unicycle, and we find this rubbery-faced clown with...
Why? What is everyone so fucking horny about clowns juggling for?
The eyes of one Carl Wieser. Clowns, they don't work in CGI. Let's quit it with the clowns. I'm assuming there was a lot of work going into the animations and soft body mesh of this guy, because we're back into the black void. In 1988, we would get the biggest leap forward in computer graphics. I present to you dinosaur stuff.
Let's go! What is that piano? What a banger!
Many of the tech demos during this era still wouldn't have shadows. Usually it was to show off new physics or dynamic polygon movements, but still, I would like shadows. The tree from 1988's Natural Phenomenon. That's a good-looking tree.
Wow,
probably
look
the
at that.
best tree I've ever seen. Ever.
Great.
Also, in 1988, Particle Dream shows off some truly stunning and startling effects. It's a bit weird. It only gets weirder, though, with possibly the most terrifying CGI demo of the 1980s. 1988's Polygon.
Oh no. What the hell? Hey!
Just every nightmare rolled into one, isn't it? You got a void of a background, simple lighting, and this thing. For all the creepy stuff, I gotta ask, is this a shitpost? Like the first shitpost? Because it feels like it. It's so far removed from everything else released in this time. There's very obviously clipping issues and animation problems throughout. The same year, we get another...
That is so shocking. I mean, it's like almost one of those things that gets used by accident and then people would just like run with it.
CGI work that spawned this lifelong fear of early CGI in me. It's another Pixar short, and a famous one at that, Tin Toy. On a technical level, again, very impressive, but I hate it. We aren't in a void anymore, but it's a single empty room. Very liminal spaces here. The textures are almost realistic, but nothing looks quite real. The worst part is that baby. This is one of the most horrifying things I can...
Whoa!
Imagine seeing in the 1980s.
Oh man!
The 90s or ever. I don't care about the text.
What is that? Oh my god!
Imagine seeing in the 1980s or the 90s or ever. I don't care about the technical accomplishments of this at this point. It's just disturbing. I've never been a fan of this short, but it is possibly the best example of creepy 1980s CGI. But I do like those background characters. They look how I feel. Even as polygon counts increased, realistic textures stretch across the floor, it only makes things more off-putting. We're past the shadowless worlds and money-for-nothing cartoonish humans. And as things look better, in some ways, they kind of look worse. And I think part of this reason is lighting. See, in the real world, photons are emitted from a surface and they hit an object and they're either bounced off or absorbed. Almost everything you see reflects some light, casting subtle colors on what aren't necessarily shiny surfaces. In modern computing, you can take all this light and just calculate it with path tracing of, what's that gonna look like? Oh, that looks great. You can't do that here. You can't do that for a long time. So instead, they have to approximate. What we get is something that looks almost real, but light doesn't work as it should. It's like an uncanny valley, but instead of measuring how human something looks, it's how real does it look. And this is close to reality, but something important, that element of lighting is off. It's also why lighting in shaded areas, like under the couch, looks so flat.
That
That's
makes
why everything
sense.
looks so flat. There's no indirect lighting from other objects. Well, to get away from some...
Well, that makes sense. You know, I haven't thought about why exactly it was uncanny, but like that graph was really nice for me because that's how, I mean, this, because I've never thought about it like this. You know, that didn't bother me. This does kind of bother me. I still don't necessarily think I hate it. I like this animation a little bit.
Jab Jab Land. I don't like Jab Jab Land. Chris Wedge of OSU, the creator of this masterpiece, had some other interesting shorts, including Balloon Guy. I gotta say, I love those jiggly physics on display.
Marge?
And the dog. What a dog. Another unsettling work is the lit physics on display. And the dog. What a dog.
I don't think something's right with Vido.
Another unsettling work is The Little Death from '89.
What the hell?
There's a lot wrong here for me. First off, the dog. That's supposed to be a dog. The landscape is devoid of life. The dancing figures, what are those?
What about love?
Is she falling? What? What?
Here's a less creepy short. It's
the
locomotion.
hell?
It's just a train. A moving train. A
What?
Mugen train. I like how the train squishes and squashes.
What did that say?
A Mugen
Oh, okay.
train. I like how the train squishes and squashes. That's kind of fun. I don't love the trees and grass textures, but everything is so cartoony it gets a pass. You know, not all early CGI needs to instill fear in your heart. Take this. Petey meets the dragon. I mean, just look at it. It's a fun, bouncy dinosaur, and then he meets the dragon. And
Made with wings out of tinfoil?
then
What?
Megacycles was a demo showing off crowds, and it does this well. This weird void of a landscape, the desert with lakes, it has scale. It's just ominous. The lighting on the blocks is very simplistic, giving a pretty flat feel, but the characters themselves, they look pretty good, I must say. But yeah, this demo is all about having a lot of characters on screen at once, and look at those crowds. Don't Touch Me was a
Huge.
groundbreaking motion capture demo with a realistic human. But remember, this is still the late 80s, so this is what it looks like. Tipsy Turvy is a bit of a surprise, still the late 80s, so
Oh, man, dude. When I use too much foundation, I go out.
this is what it looks like. Tipsy Turvy is a bit of a surprise. You have these animated kettles and cups, but they have soft bodies and jiggly physics.
Don't like
and then
that.
it
That bothers
sneezes And it breaks. Well, that's a bit sad. One of my personal favorites of all time is Knick Knack. You might notice a trend in Pixar's choice of characters this time around. It's plastic. Plastic is good at showing reflections of light without having to reflect much of the detail in the scene. Visually, it's peak early CGI. The lighting is flat, objects don't seem to cast shadows upon themselves, but it works well in this particular aesthetic.
I'm looking
and the music. Never forget the
respectfully.
music. Great particle effects, awesome motion blur, and while there's a certain oddity in all of this, I mean, the room still feels pretty empty. I still think it feels more fleshed out than Red's Dream. In Sunny Egypt, look at him. He's perfect. If you've ever seen the short on the Finding Nemo DVD, it was likely the censored version. Can you spot the difference?
Oh, I was wondering where I had seen it. They fucking took our titties away!
Between the two, I'm definitely biased towards this one. I imagine this particular short spread fear in many a child because I know I found it off-putting, and it probably was. But by the 1990s, CGI was starting to grow up. The technology became more commercially viable, more money was invested, and it seemed to have a compounding effect. I mean, just look at some of this early 90s CGI.
Why are there
Look how
dolphins?
good it looks.
Yep.
By 1993, we started
Oh
seeing...
no, Veggie Tales, please. My little Christian era is screeching.
CGI on television, both with Veggie Tales and The Incredible Crash Dummies. I'm sure a lot of you have some heavy nostalgic feelings towards CGI in the 90s, but it still can look a little creepy. I think it's that flat lighting. There is an acceptable level of quality though. At some point, this stuff looked fine enough. It could be rendered fast enough, and it could be justified in big blockbuster films. I mean, take this 1994 Alias demo at SIGGRAPH of a moving hand. Man, 20 years sure makes a difference. In tandem, transparency and lighting effects were catching up. We're well past tin toy here. While many of these things aren't photorealistic today, you can at least see how somebody might perceive it as such in the 90s. Now, you know what's coming. Once Toy Story is released in 95, the CGI animation scene is never the same. For decades prior, there had been attempts to get a full-length CGI motion picture made, but generally the amount of time it would take between making the film and rendering it would all look outdated by the time it released, which makes Toy Story interesting. It's such a far leap above everything else we've seen, and I'm sure to many it holds up well today. And I might get a lot of shit for this, but I think there's some elements that are off-putting to me. Now, I never noticed it as a kid, but looking at this 20 years since I've seen the film, yeah, it still kind of looks like early 90s CGI.
Yeah, you know, when you really look at it, it's,
It doesn't have the issues of sitting in a void, and the animations are great, but there's certain elements that still bother me. Like, take foliage. Look at the density of that grass. Creating different polygonal models for each blade was not gonna work. So we have this displacement shader, and it looks almost real, but not quite. There's a lot of realistic textures in this movie, and it makes that baked lighting more apparent. Certain scenes have definitely aged better, like inside Sid's room, that looks
one's
great.
good.
That window there, it's a great window. And the human models, though, yeah, it's better than what Tin Toy had. But no, I'm not gonna shit on this that much. For the technology of the time, it's truly astonishing.
Wait, that was an unedited? I always thought that somebody just edited that. That's unedited and actually in the film is the half-eye?
Here, and CGI finally got the attention it deserved. There's something unique about these early years of CGI. Something almost akin to
There it
liminal
is, right
spaces.
there.
Very stylized, very nostalgic, and this sense that something might be off. And I think that's part of the charm. A lot of these demos, they push the boundaries of CGI further than ever before.
This, I really didn't think I'd watch all 30 minutes of this. Well, especially it's getting really hot in here, so I'm probably gonna have to bounce. However, this was really dope. I've been wanting to watch this for a while. I gotta agree that I think that there's definitely some uncanny valley shit, but like for the most part, it's just cool to even see that we've come so far. In the last, I'm not even talking about the last 20 years. I'm talking about, oh my God, I was about to say, think of the leap in difference between like Call of Duty 2 and like now. And that is 20 years ago. So basically, that was a really unfortunate and unhappy thing. Anyways, okay. Yo, so I'm sorry, obviously I want to keep streaming, but my AC is broken and it's 105 degrees outside in Los Angeles today. So I need to figure out why it's broken, figure out if I can fix it, and hopefully take care of the dog and stuff. So before I do that, let me just try it one more time before. Let me give it a shot. Let me give it one more shot. Froze over for sure. It definitely did. I think, all right, so chat, yo. So we left it off for an hour. I turned it back on. It keeps making the noise that it makes when it's trying to kickstart, right? And it kind of hisses, so I think it froze or something like that. Froze over, you know. Good news is we're not dying, but it is very hot up in my office. So I'm going to call the people and see how long it takes, if they can come over ASAP, and then figure it out. Bad alternator, maybe. All right, hold on. I'm going to mute. I'll be right back. He's a fucking kid. Kaylee goes, hey, by the way, I think you have termites. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I looked it up. By the way, some bugs flew out of the floor. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I don't know. Today is not the day. All right. And it's a holiday weekend in the US, so I'm worried that nobody is going to be available to work it. Did you check the breakers for the AC unit? That actually is a good... Well, no, because if their breakers weren't... Okay, fuck. No, because, I mean, I can go check, but wouldn't the AC unit just not work if the breakers were flipped? You got to bomb the house. Termites spread like fire. Well, it's an entirely concrete. Restart the breaker and give it a try if there's a short. Oh, okay. Well. All right. Well, I don't know. Damn. I'm gonna email him. Typical $5,000 a month California apartment. Very ignorant thing to say. Building's from 1903. All right. I am probably gonna end stream and try and figure this out. So sorry about the short stream. Obviously, I'm not thrilled on it. I would like my AC to work, but it is very warm in here, and I'm gonna go try and figure some stuff out. Hopefully, we get it fixed, because otherwise, it's gonna be inconvenient, given that it's the hottest weekend I've ever spent here, and it's a holiday weekend. So if we get it fixed or something changes, then you can expect maybe I come back and we stream. Otherwise, then hopefully tomorrow. So thanks for chilling. Sorry, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I'll talk to you guys later. Come to the restaurant. I got you guys on some drinks. Thanks, man. Maybe.